Member Services Team for MTA New York City Transit Retirees. This call is being recorded for quality and other healthcare operations purposes. You're a healthcare professional. Press or say 1.
Questions about open enrollment. Your new plan benefits starting on January 1st, or to register for an informational meeting, press or say 1. If you are...
Your feedback is important to us. You may have an opportunity to give us feedback on today's call. After speaking with the representative, please stay on the line to complete a brief survey. Please hold while I transfer your call. Hello, thank you for calling AETNA Medicare Retiree Services. My name is Christina Lynch, and that are you doing today?
Yes, good morning. Good morning. I got to tell you the truth. I'm a retiree from the New York City Transit Authority. Now, starting January 1st, we're being forced into this Medicare Advantage plan. I'm not exactly super happy about it. A couple of questions.
Okay, no worries. We'll be more than happy to assist. Go ahead.
Okay, so I just got off the phone with, I live on Long Island, New York. And by the way, my domestic partner, my girlfriend, also is on the line. Her name's Mary Ann. Now, I just got off the phone with Memorial Sloan Kettering. Now, as you know, or you may know, Memorial Sloan Kettering is a world-renowned cancer hospital. Now, I was thinking to them about my coverage. Now, when I told them that I was being forced into a Medicare Advantage plan, he told me, well, we are in fact out of network. So they said, I suggest you call your insurance company to find out what exactly does Aetna cover and Aetna does not cover. So could you please explain to me, as an out-of-network facility, what's the story with Memorial Sloan Kettering, please?
Okay, yes, sir. Again, I'll be more than happy to assist you with that. May I first please have the spelling of your first and last name?
Okay, well, to tell you the truth, I would like for you to answer my question.
We're not yet in this plan, so you're not going to have our information. We're just asking questions.
Okay, well, I can enter as John Doe, but I do have to ask, have a process that I have to follow as well. But I can enter John Doe.
Okay, John Doe it is.
Okay. Okay, well, is it okay if I go ahead and call you Mr. Doe, or how would you like to get your turn to call?
Mr. Doe is good.
Fine.
Yeah, John.
Okay. Okay, and just to make sure that I get my notes correct, you're calling today just to see how and what coverage you would receive with Sloan Kettering with the new insurance. Is that correct?
That's correct. And by the way, that would be the Manhattan location.
Okay. Alrighty. And now what company, university, union, or trust are you retired from?
MTA, New York City Transit Authority.
Okay, thank you. And in order to make sure I answer my questions accurately today, you did state you're calling for yourself, correct?
Correct. And my domestic partner who's on the phone also.
Okay, thank you. And may I get a callback number in the event that we get disconnected?
Certainly.
Well, we'll just call you back. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Yeah.
Okay, no worries. And to verify the plans in your area, may I please have your zip code?
11001.
Okay, I have 11001. And I know the answer to this, but I have to ask anyways. Do you have an email address that you'd like to give us?
No.
No, I do not.
No worries. Okay, so I know that currently with your plan. You can go to any doctor that is, whether they are in network or out of network. Now, it may be different for Sloan Kettering. I know that we were working on something with them, so I will double check with that. But yes, as long as the hospital, the doctor, or medical center accepts Medicare and is willing to bill Aetna, you can go anywhere that you want. In worst case scenario with that, if a doctor or a hospital is not willing to bill us, then you would pay up front, which I know that sounds a little crazy because I know it's expensive. Then you would pay up front and you would submit a claim for reimbursement, and whatever portion, the part that they cover with the plan one, you are 100% covered. They will reimburse you for whatever you paid. But
So in other words, I'm at the mercy of Aetna's good graces, correct?
Yes, sir.
Understood.
Because when we spoke to Memorial Sloan Kettering a few minutes ago, they told us that out-of-network benefits meant that we had to contact Aetna to find out what those out-of-network benefits were, because Aetna was only covering specific diagnosis codes and would not just cover everything. And to their understanding, you were only covering consultations, but not cancer care.
Okay, and that is correct. Certain procedures and certain things. Okay, when it comes to hospitals, again, I would have to double check about Sloan Kettering, but generally, any hospital or doctor or provider, as long as they accept Medicare and is willing to bill Aetna, you can go where you like. Now, when it comes to the procedures and certain things, then yes, a lot of the things do require prior authorization. Now that part, I'm not sure of what they would cover. I would have to get you all over to member services to see exactly what they would cover, but I can check on Sloan Kettering and see as far as will you be able to go to that hospital, and it still remains the same as long as they accept Medicare and is willing to bill them. So if you guys don't mind, and I will place you on a brief 1 to 2 minute hold. If you don't mind, and I'll go ahead and check on that for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Unbelievable.
Yep,
You and I were right the whole time.
we were. This is why this is a concern.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bell. Here with me here in just a moment, just checking back in with you, just letting you know that I'm on hold as well. So as soon as I get someone on the line, I'll be right back with you. Okay?
Well, I'm sorry. Who are you trying to contact? A supervisor to delve further into this?
Yes, sir.
Understood. Well, I hope all your supervisors aren't out to lunch because we've been on hold for a while already.
Yes, sir. I know. I do understand and apologize for any inconvenience.
It's already 23 minutes.
I don't think it's 23, but I know you've been on hold for a while. So once again, I do apologize for any inconvenience. Just checking back in on with you guys. Don't want to miss the other line.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No worries. Yes, sir. No worries. 1 moment.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am on the line right now with members, a member of our supervisory team. And so to confirm the first part of the question, so yes, the same will apply as far as they don't have to be in network in order for you to see them, as long as they accept Medicare and is willing to bill them. Now for the second part, and is willing to bill us, you can still go to them. As far as the second part, we're checking on the coverage and seeing if they cover beyond just consultation. That's what we're doing and working on right now for you, okay?
Understood. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and I do appreciate your patience. Thank you. 1 moment, please.
Okay.
already.
Yeah, it's still there, right?
I am. I gotcha. That first part, they didn't tell us anything we didn't already know.
That was, that-
Yes, that will be the clincher. Yeah,
you know something,
well, I think they do. They're not wanting to say.
right, they're not all communist arrangements.
So, yes, so, again, it will work the same. They don't have to be in network. Your coverage would be, did you receive the, welcome kit that gives you the breakdown, the summary of benefits and breakdown of the plan?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so anything with an asterisk, those would be services that would require prior authorization. And also, there was a continuity of care form inside of that also. So any continued care, all you would have had to do was fill out that form, and whatever services are being provided now will carry over to the new plan for next year.
But that's not answering the question that we specifically asked. The hospital is directly telling us that the out-of-network procedures that are being covered out of network were primarily consultation only, not cancer care. And I need you to confirm that.
Okay, and again, like I said, it doesn't have to be in network. You can be an out of network doc.
Yes, but they are specifically listen. This is serious, right? This is life or death. And if you can't answer and you're super
My just as well, so I would not be giving you wrong information.
right, but you're not answering the question. So it's serious when the hospital is saying that Aetna will be accepted by Memorial Sloan Kettering for specific diagnosis codes out of network only, primarily for consultation, not for treatment. So I don't respectfully.
Where are you getting that? Where are you getting that information from? Because my information that have that as being the information
Directly from the hospital. We spoke with the patient. Yes.
You know what Aetna is saying.
Right, but you're telling me to look at our book. And you're telling.
I'm just letting you know what procedures will require prior authorization. That's not asking you to look in the book. He can continue to go there, and we will pay for his services. Some of the services will require prior authorization. Again, that is what the continuity of care form is for. You let us know what doctor you're going to. You let us know what services you're currently having, and it will carry over to.
Right, but hold on. You're saying, I'm not talking to you about continuity of care. I'm talking about what if there's a future.
Speaking about continued care.
I'm not talking about continued care. I'm asking you a very direct question. If I go to Memorial Sloan Kettering next week with a new diagnosis, am I going to be treated for everything that they want to treat me for?
Ma'am.
Say that again?
Yes, ma'am.
They're not saying that. They are saying that they are for consultation only. We literally just the both of us were on the phone. We both heard it.
We were on the phone with the hospital and we spoke to three different people.
Okay. And my department is not telling me that. They're telling me, and I was just on the phone as long as you guys have been on hold. I was speaking to my department that is telling me If you go, as long as you present your Aetna card, that you will be covered. There are certain procedures that will require prior authorization. The doctor will know. They will contact the insurance first and let us know what services you're being provided with, and we will let them know whether it will be covered or not.
Whether it will be covered or not. Right.
Or not, NOT, that's a big word when it comes to.
Right. And so that goes back to what we were saying. We were told specifically by Patient Financial Services that it is dependent upon the diagnosis code and typically out of network benefits or consultation only.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay,
This isn't making any sense to me. You either.
I agree. It's 0 cents.
It's not putting our minds at ease because the hospital.
What I will do is get you all transferred over to member services so that they can go over and give you all specifics.
Okay.
I'm just going by what they have told me that place. It's not my department.
Got it. Okay, you could transfer us. I'll stay on hold.
You're very welcome. No worries. One moment, please.
Yep, we're hitting 45 minutes.
No clear answer.
Almost an hour for one question. Yep.
Once again, thank you so very much for patiently holding for me. I do have a member of services on the line. She's not, now she will need some details. I know you did not want to provide that to me earlier, but she will need some details to be able to assist you, okay?
Well, go.
All righty, she's on the line. Take care, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Happy holidays.
Well, happy New
Thank
Year.
you too. Thank you for your help.
Very well. Absolutely.
Hello, my name is Alisa, and I'm with AETNA Group Member Services. So I'm hearing that you're having questions with regard to a certain place, certain hospital or institution that you're interested in staying at. In order to go over any type of benefits, I need a member ID number.
Okay, so here's the situation. Your organization has a Medicare Advantage plan that our former employer is rolling us into starting January 1. There is no Medicare number, ID number, because we're not in the plan yet. And yet your organization should still, because all of our paperwork has your concierge number, is to call your number in case we have any questions about this plan. And so I can't give you a member ID number because we're not in your plan yet.
Okay, I'm a little surprised because most are, even though your care begins on, or your may be effective January 1, but let's see if we can't find it a different way because that's the fastest.
But you should be able to answer questions about the coverage of the plan without a plan number because I'm not in it.
I would be, so ma'am, the only way that I can see coverage about your retiree plan is by looking at your retiree plan. I I'd be pulling things out of the air if I didn't, if that's not my due diligence. I need to find out what the actual plan states for you guys in
Yes,
order to provide you with the most up-to-date information.
yes. So
Now, if that is a problematic for you, then you might want to refer back to your retiree plan and let them know that you don't feel comfortable providing information and see what they can't do to us. But that is what I'm here for. I do need information in order that nothing is being held against you. We just need information to look up what plan that you say that you're going to be
Okay.
If you're going to start January 1, you may be in the system.
so the New York,
That information.
so the MTA New York City Transit Medicare Advantage PPO plan. And it was a negotiated agreement between MTA, New York City Transit, and TWU Local 100.
So general information here with regard to the plan, with regard to the plan, some of the hot topics, 18,000 retirees will be moving to this plan on January 1, 2024. See. Said that the plan comparison TWU local 100. Okay, so I'm showing three different ones. Aetna Medicare option 1, Aetna Medicare option 2, and plan comparison TWU local 100.
Which it would be the plan that's starting January 1 of 2024.
All three of these at ma'am are, again, I don't know which one because I don't have access to your name and your information. So there's three plans that are showing. Do you know which one that you'll be the plan comparison TWU local 100?
There should only be two plans. They eliminate
one.
Let's go with option 1.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So what information is showing for a summary of benefits, primary care physician, you have the option to choose a PCP. When we know who your provider is, we can better support you. Referrals, this plan doesn't require referrals. Prior authorization, your doctor will work with us to get approval before you receive certain services. Benefits that may require a prior authorization are listed with an asterisk in the benefit grid, which is the information you should be receiving if you haven't received it yet. Monthly premium, please contact your former employer union trust for more information on your plan premium. Annual deductible $0. Out-of-pocket cost $0.
Okay.
Patient
Can-
care $0.
Can we
Care applies to cover benefits incurred during a member.
can I interrupt you? I'm so sorry. Let me interrupt you. So
No.
that was not our question. We got the booklet, right? So we
Particular.
the specific question we called for is we were on the phone for about an hour with Memorial Sloan Kettering Hospital in New York City. They advise that they are not in the network for Aetna Medicare Advantage PPO. They also advised that certain diagnosis codes would be approved by Aetna for out-of-network benefits, and that they could not confirm what they were. We had to call you.
And we won't know that until the claim is submitted. We would not know what the codes are going to be, how much this will be or that will be, if that is your specific question. Excuse me, let me not assume. So are you asking if certain things will be covered? Are you asking the amount?
No.
What is it?
So they are saying that because your coverage is out of network only, that they would cover, you, Aetna, would only cover consultations, not cancer care.
So a PPO plan covers in-network and out-of-network. Some PPOs may require a bit of a higher cost, but that's a PPO plan is in-network and out-of-network providers.
That wasn't what they're telling us.
Clear where that information is coming.
From patient services, financial services at the hospital, specifically stating that your plan will only cover specific things and not everything because it is out of network.
If they bill Aetna, if they submit the claim goes through, and it'll show what we paid and what's owed. If there is any patient or member responsibility.
How does that help us now, though, in trying to prepare? It's still an open-ended question.
And so I don't want to keep you on the line. You've gone through this with the last representative, and I understand that is a bit problematic for you. This is very serious, and you need some direct answers.
Yes.
I can't tell you the information that I don't have. All I can tell you is what I have. This particular plan is showing the first one. Excuse me, the Medicare option that I clicked on is stating that you're a PPO. So you can have in-network and out-of-network. It just may be at a bit of a higher cost for a PPO.
And you can't tell me what those higher costs would be for cancer care.
I know that
Until you got a bill.
Would be remembered clinical. If I don't have any type of code, or also, is it prior authorization, because that is between the provider and Aetna to call provider services, make sure that goes through. But as far as what would come out of pocket, specifically, right now, all I'm doing is looking through your benefits to see if there's any information. Let's see. So this is diagnostic services, which is all at $0. Inpatient, outpatient, $0. Skilled nursing. I was looking specifically if there was something specific to treatment. No, nothing. Up under there. Again, so if with PPO plans, if they're willing to bill us, they should just bill. There are times when members have gone or paid upfront for something only to find out that it would have been covered had it just been submitted. So instead of them having to pay out of pocket and trying to receive back the Medicare allowable rate instead of the rate that they were billed at. But for this particular plan for Medicare, the option that we chose, most of this is going $0 for everything that I've seen thus far. Nothing specific to Cancer Treatment Institute. And again, I can't look it up because can't look up to see with Kettering Sloan. Well, let me just say this again. I want to skip with this. If Kettering is willing to bill Aetna, then they need to submit the bill to Aetna. It depends on the codes that were used, the procedures that were done, what the cost will be. I can't tell you any more than that because I don't know any more than that. I only know what your general what your general retiree or employer plan is showing, and that is what I've read you. That was the first one. There are two more. I don't know how much of a difference it would be for 2024, but again, without giving a bit more information, I can't help. And I do understand if you prefer not to speak with us. You certainly have that option. You can go to medicare.com And if you have any information, you can register there and look at claims and benefits. You can print off your ID card. You can look for providers online. Maybe you feel more comfortable doing it that way. I understand completely that is not a problem. Just another option.
And the concerning thing is we don't have a card yet. We don't have a plan number. We don't have an ID number. The hospital and 3 different people.
You might have that online.
No, the hospital is still telling us completely opposite from what you are telling us. So here's the concern with that. And, here's the concern with that is that calling your concierge line, which is supposed to be a dedicated line for MTA transit retirees for a plan that's going into effect in a few days, that no one in your company can pull up exactly the information to answer one specific question in the 72 minutes we're on this call. And that specific answer is...
It's been the same. If you asked about the institute, we told you that you can go there. That's not correct information. I can't. And again, I hate that you've been on the line for 72 minutes, but I feel a part of that would be easier if we could just give you retrieve some information from you and see what we have in our system.
But we're not withholding anything from you. You have the plan. You clearly know.
Your last name and your first name.
We are not in your plan yet. It doesn't matter what our name is.
Our side, ma'am. Okay, all right. Okay, I understand. So at this point, like I said, the only other thing that we can do, I'm going to stick with what the other representative stated to you. If they bill us, submit their claim, we'll pay our portion. And then if there is anything that's owed by you, then you will be aware at that time. We can't give you information on something that we don't have. We don't have a code. We don't know what could be done. You could go into the office for one thing, but the code that the provider uses could be something completely different. So I can't tell you what I don't have.
This is like beating a dead horse. Basically, it's just...
And I believe the provider is aware that we can't pull stuff out of our hat to see what it could be without knowing what the CPT codes are so that we would know. We don't have that information available. That would come from the actual provider who would be performing the services.
So would Aetna then cover chemotherapy treatment, proton beam treatment?
Chemotherapy is not coming up for me in this particular plan. I'm not showing anything. Option 2. I don't know. Again, not sure what plan. And again, I understand you stating that you think you guys may not be in our system, but just because you don't have the cards doesn't mean that you're not necessarily in the system. Or that what we normally do, if not, we create a perspective that you call, put that information in so that, once you are in the system, or if there's something that needs to be looked into, we've got information to help us research and get answered to you. This way, I can't do a whole lot. The other thing I was going to offer was our task team, but without information, they can't do anything. So in just a moment, let's see if there's anything in here with regard to chemotherapy. Nothing. I can't even get past CH. Try that right there.
So you don't see chemotherapy in option 1, but you're checking option 2 now?
No, I've checked option 2. I'm going to make comparison to view local. If there's anything in here. Let's see. things. It's chemotherapy. Yeah, I am not seeing anything. The last thing that I can do, and again, that will probably require information, but I'm going to reach out because I want to see if there's any other way or anything else we could do. But again, well, I don't have a number to call back in case we lose one another, and nor will there be any notes. For
That's fine.
So it would kind of be like you starting over again. Hopefully, we won't lose each other, but normally this is the point where I ask, is there a number that we can reach you back at just in case? I understand you're not willing to give any personal information, so I'm going to go ahead and reach out and see what we can't find, if anything. I just want to check and make sure I'm not missing anything. I'll come back on the line in about 3 to 5 minutes.
Thank
Is that
you.
okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
All right.
An hour and 20 minutes.
I'm sorry.
We're at an hour and 20 minutes.
120, right on the money, yep. And no answer. That's on. See what's in.
And now you understand why Aetna's reimbursement rate given by Pete Donahue was so low.
Believe me. It's only proved to the courts that Aetna is full of it.
Yep.
I knew this. In other words, out of network, good luck. Oh, we don't want to pay for that. Oh, we're only going to pay $300.
Right. Right. This is criminal.
With no correct answer. He'll said the same thing. Central reimbursement.
Yep. And I want you to know that because we dialed an 800 number, even though you blocked your number, they still have your name and number. Because the 800 number unmasks you.
I know. Believe me, I know.
I just wanted to reach out to a senior rep, actually my mentor, to make sure I'm not missing anything. So the only other thing that we can suggest at this time is look for a little bit more information I'd like to give. And that is, well, one, when it comes to cancer, we've never seen anything that was medically necessary denied. Now, if it's something like investigational and experimental, more than likely are like, trial clinics, things like that, that would go through Medicare first, and then we would pay secondary. And even some appeals even some claims that may have been denied, there's always an appeal process. So you have options. Now, the other, and one of the more simpler ones to do, since we don't, again, and I want you to understand, because we don't know what the provider would use for different, what type of different codes the provider would use, we can't state what it would be, and we're not on the clinical end, so we can't say that. But your provider can call for a predetermination.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
say you want to know about the chemotherapy, you can call in our provider services and get a predetermination on what if he's pending the codes that he used, how much that's if there would be anything out of pocket. But again, if you have, and I just want to reiterate this, if you have a PTO, there's another one called an ESA PTO. If you have that's extended service area, that means that your out of network doctors will be treated as in network doctors. If you have a PTO, means that you can still have out of network doctors, but there may be a cost, and it may be a little higher cost, and that's the only difference. So I hate that you were given that information, but that is more than likely why Kettering Stone had you call us, because that was what they thought. But if you decide, and this goes for most plan types with providers, if they decide to bill Aetna, then the provider who is a network with Aetna and is contracted with Medicare, they'll bill Aetna, and the member is responsible for paying their copay, coinsurance, deductible if it applies. There's a provider that is contracted by Medicare but out of network, but they are willing to bill Aetna. The provider will bill Aetna, and the member must pay again if there's a coinsurance, copay, deductible. Here's where it gets a little hairy. Provider who is contracted by Medicare, and I'll give you a way that you can find that out really quick after I finish this. Provider who is contracted by Medicare out of network, but they will not bill Aetna. The member will have to pay up front and can send in for reimbursement. We will only reimburse up to the Medicare allowable rate. So if the doctor bills you $400 and Medicare says it's only $16.52, that is what you'll get back.
And that's,
If a provider is, go ahead.
go ahead.
I'm sorry, you had a question?
No, go ahead. I'll wait.
Okay. The final one is a provider that is out of network and they've opted out of Medicare. We don't pay those
Right.
providers, and nor do we reimburse for seeing those providers. And a way that you can find providers as well is going to, goodness gracious, it's just Medicare.gov. And it'll say find physician, and you can look there too and see if the physician is a part of, is contracted with Medicare. So that is one way where you don't have to, because again, I understand you may not feel comfortable giving out information, but at least that way you can do your search and see if that doctor or that physician is a part of Medicare. So if they are part of Medicare, that's one thing down. It's still Aetna, it's the second thing down. And again, even though they say that we may only do this or that, with the PPO plan, you can go out of network.
Right. We're familiar.
So as long as they bill us.
We are familiar that you can go out of network if the doctor does choose to bill the plan or accept the plan for payment. Totally understand that. But that is different from what the hospital is telling us in terms of what their arrangement is with you. And I think it's disingenuous to say Aetna has not seen where cancer care has been denied. If you Google search the name Arana Cunningham, she was a lady who had Aetna, who denied her proton beam cancer treatment, and she died. And the family sued Aetna and won. So I have to be careful, and I need to get these answers to make sure that I'm not.
I certainly understand that.
Yes. So it's concerning that I can ask what is covered for chemotherapy, and yet chemotherapy or proton beam treatment isn't coming up under option 1 or option 2. That scares the bejesus out of me.
And I certainly understand exactly what you're stating. And if you would give me an opportunity, may I please have this information with regard to who the member is?
Let me ask you a question. Are you able to determine if option 1 is an Aetna PPO SA plan?
So your plans, let me go back here. MTA NYCT option one plan is an Aetna Medicare PPO.
It is not an ESA.
It's not an ES, it does not show as ESA, it is PPO.
Okay, are you able to switch the screen to option 2 quickly and determine ESA?
It's also PP, it is also PPO.
So it is not so both options are not ESA.
That is correct. They show as Aetna Medicare Plan PPO.
Okay.
2, option 1.
Okay, the Aetna representative apparently made some kind of a mistake because the Aetna representative did say ESA.
Well, and that's really strange, honey, because on the Aetna website for New York City Transit, it does say that beginning January 1 of 2024, all TWU Local 100 MTA bus Medicare eligible dependents will automatically be enrolled in the Aetna Medicare Plan PPO ESA, known as Aetna Medicare Advantage PPO ESA option 1. If you have the option to switch to Aetna Medicare Advantage, you have the option to switch to Aetna Medicare Advantage PPO ESA option 2. So it's calling them both an ESA, but ESA only means that it is an extended service area. That doesn't mean anything else other than coverage of other net.
That you can have. So the ESA also extended service area means that your out of network doctors will be treated as in network doctors.
Right. Right. But and still yet there are still deserts. There are still deserts of coverage, as this plan only needs to cover 51% of the retirees in the plan. We've already spoken with other people who live in other areas of the country that there are no in-network doctors.
And that is our concern. Okay. So
and please, sorry, go right ahead.
no, please go ahead.
Well, at this point, and please forgive me, if it's ESA, I will take a look and see, but what I was seeing here, I was looking directly at MTA, I was looking directly at the plan, the 3 of 12 pages, and it showed at the Medicare Plan PPO. So forgive me if that was my mistake. That is not what I saw, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what it is. I want to give correct information as well.
Okay.
Again, I am limited. I understand what you're asking, and I know I did not hear about the Arana Cunningham. Certainly, my condolences. We don't want the same thing to happen, but we have not, since I've been here, I haven't seen, to just be honest on that end.
Okay.
Again, even if I were to try and get you to, what I was thinking and seeing if someone else could assist, maybe give you some answers, but that would require callback information in which you're not willing to give.
But you know,
I understand that you're very concerned, but the only other thing that I might be able to do, and I might have to justify it, is call Kettering phone. But again, we are already stating that if it's an ESA PPO, then yes, you can go to it as long as they bill us. We can't, let me be honest with you. The best thing that I can tell you here, actually, to eliminate all of this, the best thing that I can say is this: please call your provider. I'll call them. Let them know that they need to do a predetermination on a potential member or who will be a member January 1. That's all the information that I have. But please do a predetermination on chemotherapy treatment. There's nothing else that I can do, because without those codes, I can't tell you how much it would be. I cannot, and I will not. I would be remiss and wrong and saying,
right.
Oh, it's just going to be this amount, or, oh, everything shows zeros. I can't do that. But again, there is a way that you can find out prior to treatment how much it's going to be, and your provider can do that. It's a predetermination.
I get that, but that requires
Would you
us.
like me to call them and
No, because that requires us then to make the appointment, go there. The doctor would have to then make the determination, diagnosis, and then call you and tell you. And then if that's the case and you don't cover it, we're right back at square one. So I'm not going to commit to that. I want to say, you know,
Yeah, it's predetermination. What does it mean you have to
I'm
go and do?
you're missing the point. The doctor's not going to be able to give you a predetermination if they have not yet seen me in the office, right? So
But they know what they want to do. Well, you know what? You
No.
are absolutely right. That's why we need one, because we don't know what they're going to do. We
Right.
can't tell you what we don't know they're going to do either.
right, but
So I can't, if we.
this doesn't
I
exist.
don't want to upset.
This
Just be
doesn't,
quiet. I don't know how else I can assist.
right.
You, though.
This, oh my gosh, this does not exist in traditional Medicare. This is the point. I'm on the phone with you with your company for almost an hour and a half. Well, actually over an hour and a half. And yet the one simple question is, do I have absolutely coverage for cancer care out of network
Yeah.
with Aetna? And I can't get 100% yes, you absolutely do.
What I've already.
I know but that's the answer. And to be on the call over an hour and a half, for as pleasant and wonderful as you are, to be on the call this long for someone to say, I am so sorry that this is what you're dealing with. However, rest assured, Aetna's got your back, and I don't have that. So I guess I'm just back to square one, but I do appreciate you being thorough and taking your time with us.
Well, I do hope that you eventually, and like I'm just going to say this and certainly let you go. Even though you may not have the information on your end, we may have your information on our end. Again, the best that I can give you, because think about I can't bill you if I don't have anything to bill you for. I can't tell you what it's going to be if I don't have that information in front of me. And the only thing that I saw, I did go to MTA, your plan, and the only thing that I can tell you, and we've heard this before, this is not the first time, but the only thing that I can tell you is what is showing in the plan that's sold for you. Not throwing anybody under the bus, but this is what I see here. I didn't see anything chemotherapy treatment. I can't say that it's there, but I do know that normally we work with it. Normally, there's not that issue that you Googled and one person died. So, and I hate that. So I don't want to deal in definite because you are not having that, and I understand. But honestly, the only way we would really know more information is by a predetermination, and I don't see where that would mean that you would have to go into the office. You're just asking for a predetermination on chemotherapy, and and I know there may be all different types because I am not the expert on that, which is why I can't give you a definite yes, this is what's going to be, and that's what that's going to be. And I hope that makes sense to you, but definitely provider.
Yeah.
Because they may be able to do something with having to come into the office, just find out how much it may be depending the code they might use and the codes they may have to use. Because you're right, it does vary. It depends on what happens in the office and what shows up.
If
that is the case, which is why we can't give you that information.
If
that note, I won't see.
Are you able
that I can try and assist?
Are you able to pull up, if I gave you a few CPT codes that I just Googled while you were chatting, could you tell me if those would be covered under option one?
No, these were Google CPT codes.
Google CPT codes.
Go under option one, just for the hell of it.
Because the CPT code should be universal, right?
Yeah, that wouldn't be the exact way that I would look for it, but okay, I tell you what, hold on one second. All right, go ahead and give them to me.
Okay.
We'll go from there.
So they say that proton beam radiation treatment CPT codes go between 77520 and 77525. So there's only a couple there.
There is only a few, so okay, before any others, before we get started. Any other CPT codes you want to use? Are you?
Let's see.
Hello?
Let's try. Nope, I'm here.
Oh, phew.
I was just Googling. Um, let's see. Drug chemotherapy administration codes. There's a few more in there. Starts at 96360, 96375. There's several more, but if I'm not going to make you check a million codes. So if let's see what these
96360
96360.
6360 through 9375.
Right.
All right, give me just a moment. But what I do need to do though is place you on a brief hold. I'll text in about 3 to 5 minutes, okay?
Okay.
And that one, don't move, don't.
I'm not going anywhere. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna need lunch and the bathroom when this is done.
Yeah,
After this, we'll call it a day.
yeah.
We've been patient in trying to secure this info, but I don't like that it would take this long to get a clear.
Yeah, and it's obviously a runaround.
I know.
It's
Excited, but don't. You guys go ahead. I did find the first code, which I don't know what. I am super excited. It does say, consider proton beam radiotherapy medically necessary for curative treatment of any of the following tumors.
For fun. Now it's tumor specific.
More. Proton beam therapy inoperable. Okay. Goodness gracious. Wait, there is a lot on this list. Hold the line for me.
So it would be specific as to what kind of tumor you'd have.
Yeah, but there are there's more. Give me just a second. And see, this is why I don't like to get, I'll be honest, I'm not science, I'm not on the clinical side, so I don't like saying and be incorrect because
No, I agree with you.
we want to make sure.
I
You
agree.
know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So it goes on about tumors and things of that nature, but then it goes on to be neutron beam therapy, and it's considered neutron beam therapy medically necessary for treatment of any of the following. And there's salivary gland tumors, investigation, experimental therapy. 77520 through 7.
So you understand what Arana's situation was, is that she had stage 4 nasopharyngeal cancer that was near her brainstem, and the doctors wanted to do proton beam therapy. It was a very targeted form of radiation that would pinpoint to her tumor, and without the potential that she would lose her vision. And Aetna denied it. And then in all of the trouble that they had to go through, the family ended up mortgaging their house to try to save her life. And Arana ended up dying. And when she passed, the family sued Aetna and they were awarded a $25.5 million settlement. And the jury and the judge told Aetna, you'd better change your ways. So this was just a couple years ago, I think like 2018 or 2019. So that's why I want to ask a million questions, because
Sure.
which I understand. I'm not going to pressure you to say, yes or no, because there's a whole bunch of specifics, and I'm not going to hold you to that. But to know, it's enough to know that it's specific to what the issue would be. So, I mean, that's kind of a half answer. which is probably the most I'll get, but I'm not gonna put you on the spot to commit to it because I can't. That wouldn't be right, so.
Yeah, and you know what? I appreciate that, but I always try to make sure that if I can find as much as I can, I'll try. Now, I do see the CPT code, so here, let's see, covered at selection criteria are met. So there are some, of course, what I'm seeing, these CPT codes, 77520 through 77525. I see 2223 and 25 and 20. But for most of these codes, it's going to be the same if the criteria is met. The criteria has always got to be, of course, it's got to be medical necessity and backed up with, you know what I mean? It's got to be medical necessity.
As determined by Aetna.
Type of treatment, unless there is some type of medical necessity. And again, that for the doctor, the same code that you gave me, that's what the doctor, if it's a provider, if they feel that that's what they're going to use, if that's what they're going to do, then those are the codes that they should submit for the predetermination.
Right.
And it shouldn't matter on, just like you gave me those, and we just kind of looked them up and went from there. It would be even more specifically targeted for the member with the doctor because he has all the member information when
Right.
to provider services.
Okay.
There's one up for them. So does that help? All those
Yes.
you threw at me, does that help?
Yeah, it still educates.
Is there anything else? Because I know.
No, it educates us that it's contingent upon specific tumors and still up to medical necessity, leaving it up to prior auth and determination by Aetna. And the same with reimbursement. If we ended up having to pay for something out of pocket, Aetna would still have to determine medical necessity upon reimbursement. So those affirmed.
Reimbursement, yeah. That kind of, just say this, it reimbursement kind of sucks because it's only the Medicare allowed amount, but it's the same for when you go into treatment, even though the provider might have billed $400. If the plan is only allowing $1,652, that's all they get to. It's kind of it's kind of evens itself. Yes, point in time. Everything that you stated sounds pretty much correct. Like I said, I'm going to urge you to please reach out to the provider.
Okay.
And ask him or her to do a predetermination. Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and we taught each other a few things today.
Very well. I wish you and yours a great new year, and I hope all works out with Kettering. I know that's where you want to be, so I'm sending good thoughts and vibes to you guys both. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
You too.
Bye-bye. Isn't that freaking crazy? Yeah.
You're at the emergency. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, there's.
In other words, you gotta appear in the throne room, and the king will look down upon you and say, "Well, let's see. Should we pay for this?" Again, out of network means they'll only pay the Medicare allowed. So if it's all about, see, that's another thing. Memorial Sloan Kettering and the doctor are two different things. The doctor may say, "Well, I want to charge $5,000." You know what I mean? If the Medicare rate, the going rate, whatever, is $300, you're at $4,700.
Yep.
This is bad. Well, again, it goes to prove what I said from the very beginning. The doctor and the hospital are two completely different things.
So there you have it. With Memorial Sloan Kettering, the hospital is insisting, after speaking with 3 separate people, the plan is not in network, that they would have to have out-of-network benefits, which, of course, Aetna does provide out-of-network benefits in the plan that was provided for transit workers Local 100, as well as, of course, for the one for the New York City plan. And what the TWU 100 keeps saying is, our plan is better than the city plan. No, sir, they're both crap. And the reason I can tell you that is both of the plans are contract H5522. It is the same contract number. Ironically, H5521 is the contract that Aetna is in today, which is also the same contract that New York City retirees are in today, that they're the plan that is offered that only about 7,000 people are in. So they can't keep saying the plan is different. Now was better. TW 100 cannot say that the plan is better. They're both crap. So the other interesting thing that they came about today was with talking to Memorial Sloan Kettering and Aetna regarding this plan, was that the plan does have out-of-network benefits that they would have to determine whether or not the plan would accept procedures based on specific diagnoses codes provided by your provider. But if you're not going to know those diagnoses codes or procedure codes until after you're there and after you've had the services, this is not a way to be able to plan what your costs would be in advance. You'd only find out afterwards. Or if you ask the doctor to generate a prospective bill or invoice or charge of codes, what they would charge for. But of course, once they get in and they start doing things and other issues happen, things can change, right? So also determining that Memorial Sloan Kettering and Hospital for Special Surgery under the New York City plan, that there is a specific contract, which we as New York City retirees knew, specifically to cover those two hospitals. In the TWU Local 100 plan for transit, there is no contract for Memorial Sloan Kettering and Hospital for Special Surgery. Special surgery is out of the network, and so is Memorial Sloan Kettering, but they were working with them for coverage. So long story short, neither of the Memorial Sloan Kettering is not in the network. You would have to use them for out-of-network benefits, and you would have to hope that the diagnosis codes would be covered. Now, Memorial Sloan Kettering on that call was crystal clear. They only cover consultations, which is, we believe we have proven that when Pete Donahue from Transit, their comms person, told the press that Aetna had in 2023 paid $1.2 million for 127 people to go to Memorial Sloan Kettering. Cancer care for 127 people is not $1.2 million. It would be millions of dollars. So I do not believe Aetna is covering cancer care. Now, Aetna could also not specifically tell us that they would cover certain things. And when we went towards the end of the call, we specifically asked them about like CPT codes for proton beam treatment for radiation. They said that couldn't give us a definitive answer, but it was specific to specific kinds of tumors. Again, leaves you to medical necessity as chosen by Aetna. So I'm sorry, Mr. Manzilla from Transit Retirees and Richie Davis, you cannot say that this benefit that you have put in place for all of your retirees is not a diminished benefit, because right now, if I go to my doctor and they send me to Memorial Sloan Kettering, I don't have to go through this and spend 111 minutes on a call to see if Memorial Sloan Kettering could possibly, potentially, might be cover my cancer care. I would just go to the doctor and get that care because my doctor says I need it. Have a nice day, everybody. I can't prove this enough. I just can't keep. I mean, we can do this all day long, but if this is what it's going to take, maybe the next call will have to be live streamed on YouTube to be able to show that Aetna Medicare Advantage is not Medicare and it is not an advantage, and it is a pure diminishment of health benefit. And if 111 minutes on a phone call, you can't get a straight answer from your insurance company, and yet I'm healthy and have my wits about me, someone who is sick and infirm and whose family is dealing with stress cannot get those answers in 5 minutes. That's not insurance. Labor should be ashamed of itself. You are diminishing health benefits for your most vulnerable population. Retirees earned Medicare. Leave them with traditional Medicare. Have a great day, everyone.